channel, Ring of Fire. Name escapes my mind at this point. He's talking about what I spoke on earlier, Trump playing a cheerleader. And that's a problem. I never really thought about what that represents, that I'm ineffectual. He is in a way telling you that. If you're really listening, he in a way is saying I am ineffectual. That I am not an effective president. I'm not operating in an effective manner. That's not what I think the presidency is about. Sorry, make sure I have my bags with me. Yeah, that's what he sees. I mean, because to me, if you listen to my little show here, I talk very often about rational stuff. I want a rational, logical president because I believe in a rational society. What is a rational? A rational society is one that operates based on logic and operates off of science and operates off of democracy and operates off of a changing world, recognizing that we're living in a changing world and that we have to move with the punches and that we can't just sit around and talk about things that are momentary frustrations. I'm referring to the dishwasher speech. I'm gonna keep talking about that, guys. I want a logical president. I want someone. I believe that being a leader is about more than a cheerleader. I think that being a leader means, taking knowledge and acting on it, and taking science and saying, well, let's look into that. That's interesting. And everything that science comes up with right now may not be true. Some of it may need to be altered or tweaked, or we need to review this. That's fine. But the idea that a president just says that, well, I don't want to create a panic, so I'm going to ignore a pandemic, to me, it's unthinkable. It is just 110% unthinkable, and that's not the kind of government that I want or that I believe in. And I think many Americans would agree on that. And I talked earlier about how when Trump says cheerleader for America, he's saying cheerleader for white supremacy. He's like the crazy uncle. This is at best. Trump is the crazy uncle who talks about the way things used to be back in the 50s or something, or I mean back in the day, this, that, and the other. And that's not all bad. That's not all bad to talk about the way things to be, to be thankful for the past. But Trump, like that's his politics. Like that's as far as his politics goes, is living in the past and this, living upon things that no longer exist. Dealing with a changing world, and he's representing people who refuse to change with it. I have a problem with that. And I think that a president is supposed to deal with that. A president is supposed to, like with integration and like what JFK did, talking about, the we go to the moon speech, and JFK talked about how, any nation, especially the other nations, that we must lead and that we can't founder in the backwash and all that. A president is supposed to hit full speed, full contact, and not shy away from things. And I think it just shows you the point, once again, that Trump was never the president of the country, that he's the president for rednecks and white trash and people that hate change. And I feel like the fact that he is that, it makes it hard for him to then be a legitimate leader. You know what I mean? Like, it's like when I started driving, I was bad at backing up, parking in spaces. And so I started doing that. That's all I would do is back into spaces. Now they got backup cameras and stuff. But I made my weakness my strength. Now I prefer to back in spaces. I made that my strength. And that's what a president's supposed to do, what a leader's supposed to do, is make their weakness their strength and not hide from it. And with Trump, when he says, I'm the cheerleader of America, he is in essence telling me that, hey, I'm hiding from something that might scare people. And me, I refuse to accept that. I refuse to accept a president saying that I'm just not going to deal with something that may be unpopular. And I told my friend Chauncey, I've been talking about this, you know, I look at Obama and all the hell he took for wearing a peach suit, and the hell his wife took for wearing a dress with the sleeves cut off it. And we've seen, you know, the Trump make comments calling soldiers losers and suckers, and now we got tapes of him, you know, saying he knew it was serious. And I just realized, like, if you can't see this for what it is, you're either a hateful bastard, or you are something else that I can't reason with you. And I'm not sure I want to. You're in the shower, you're in a deep place, you're in the sunken place. And I'm not sure I can get to you, or I want to get to you. I just think that if, you know, there's a lot of things Obama did politically I disagree with, but for everything else, Obama was a Boy Scout, and I don't think anyone can disagree with that. He was a Boy Scout in every way. In every way. And I just realized that, you know, if being a Boy Scout as a black, you know, I was taught tuck your pants in, yes sir, no sir. And I realized, like, if doing all that gets your legacy destroyed in a matter of years by some numbskull who slept with porn stars, you know, and proud of that, and made fun of retarded people, and, you know, if your legacy can be destroyed by an imbecile like that, what's the point? What's the point of playing the nice guy? You know, like, white people want to make it out that because we elected a black president, that means America's not racist. I don't see it that way. I see it that America was tired of war, 8 years, well, not 8 years, but 6, 7 years of war. We wanted something else. Obama gave us something else. And, you know, I think there's a segment of America that is socialistic, even if they may not know what socialism is and know, you know, critically think about it. There is a segment of America that socialism lives on, that what Eugene Debs talked about and all that stuff, that lives on, that still exists. They, you know what I mean? It's like you believe in something, and then one day a leader comes out and says it, and you're like, yeah, I always felt that way. But they enunciated it. You know, I think that Obama was that figure. That's not about America. It's like Nikki Haley at the RNC talking about it, taking down the Confederate flag. We had been talking about the Confederate flag since I was a boy. I remember when a lady climbed up the pole and took the Confederate flag. You didn't take the Confederate flag down because you've done it. You took the Confederate flag down because of Dylann Roof murdering, I think, 8 or 9 black people in a church. That wasn't a victory for Republicans. That was what they call a half-step measure or whatever. That was something you did to be like, okay, we don't want this. We can't stand with this. That's what that was. That wasn't a victory for Republicans. It's like everything else. Stay on subject. I just feel like Trump, by those videos, by those tapes, in a truly rational society, people from all across the board should be calling for his resignation. But we don't live in a reasonable society. We don't live in a rational one. And that's that. You know, I guess I look at things differently than most people. That is what really comes to my mind. Is that we're not living in a rational society. Not by any means. Not by any means. A rational society, we would have been like, dude, you have to resign. I mean, I've said it over and over. I believe they could catch Trump snorting cocaine in the Oval Office, and you have a fourth of this country that would defend him. Trump could be caught fucking violating a young child, and I believe a fourth of this country would defend. I believe that. I realize that these conservatives, you know, these white supremacists have no shame. They have no shame. And you know, they wish they could be as racist as he is and bigoted as he is. And that's what they're fighting for. That's what they're fighting for. Some, you know, there's a picture I seen during the protests. Some people fight for inclusion. They fight for a better society. And some people are fighting for brunch. That's it. That's point blank period. That is literally what it is. You know, sometimes it bothers me that Trump is so blatant about his corruption, because like the more blatant he is, the more honest he is about his corruption, like the more we're shown how far his base is willing to go. Like that really to me is what's dangerous about Trump. Yeah, that's the stuff that scares me the most. Like the more devious and diabolical and wicked he gets, and the more honest he is about the diabolical stuff he does. You know, it's like Trump every day he's moving the goalposts, and that bothers me. I guess a part of me wants to believe we are a system of laws, system of justice, a system of rules. A part of me wants to believe that, and I gotta say, like, I'm not so sure anymore. I'm not so sure. I mean, when we looked at this thing with the International Criminal Court with Iran calling for a warrant, and you know what Trump was making fun. Really, what came to me is International Criminal Court is for black people, poor people, you know, warlords in Africa. International Criminal Court is not for anybody else but poor people and people that we want to make an example of. And that's to me what the message that I got from that. I mean, you know, it's silly that they did it, but sometimes I think that the fact that our system is so corrupt and our system is so unjust that that's the best thing Iran can do, is to expose it. And by expose it, I mean like showing things like that. Showing things like you won't dare move on the Americans. You won't dare raise your finger against the Americans. But you'll go in the bush and go grab up some, you know, monkey ass black man who he's a violent criminal to people in the bush, but that's about it. And that bothers me. That bothers me. We can't have a code of law for one group and not for another. And it also bothers me that Trump, you know, disrespects the International Criminal Court the way he does. That's not right. That's not right. It's not proper. To me, that's more fascist shit that you do, you know, to make mockery, to make fun of the institutions, because you don't want there to be, because fascists, one thing about a fascist is not operating in conjunction with society and institutions. A fascist is not interested in living in harmony with other institutions. A fascist is like, no, you're going to follow what I say because I say it. And I think that's dangerous. Thanks for listening.